way down the line, there'll be an upkeep and that sort of thing. Distribution.
So I can say for sure, before you get there,
sure.
For sure, you'd be surprised how many companies are owners of an idea and the engineering of a product, but they don't actually fabricate or manufacture anything. Especially medium to small size companies, a lot of companies actually have someone else do it for them because they have the infrastructure, they have all the everything, the tooling, everything, the employees, the skilled labor which it takes, which nobody wants to ever talk about. But things just don't happen magically in a bubble by themselves. And that takes years to cultivate and make. So that is, I would recommend, if you don't have the production aptitude and you're not doing something that a service and you're making an actual product, a physical, tangible product, then that's a good way to go. And if you're prototyping, in this day and age, 3D printers are cheap. You can actually go onto any of the graphical design, artist, solid modeling websites or forums and hire somebody to make something to you for very, very cheap. And then you turn that into a model, and then that model you convert into a 3D printed object. And that's the best way to have something tangible in your hand so that you can see if things really work out the way they say they do or you think they do. And so you can show people, because it's very hard to describe something, but if you can put something in somebody's hand, they can see it, usually they get it right away.
Awesome. Okay. Again, I can't add anything to that. That's partners, people. This is why I consider having a partner. Distribution. Finding a distribution channel for your product is critical. Entrepreneurs often take the necessary steps, developing a great product, creating a prototype, patenting their ideas, and producing the initial batch of products without considering the final step: how will the product be sold? First, find a retailer who sells products similar to yours and ask from whom they purchase these products. Once you find out, contact that distributor, sales representative, or wholesaler and ask them what kind of deal they typically offer product manufacturers such as yourself. It is important to realize that
please take my product and sell it.
It's important to realize that both the distributor and the final retailer will want to mark up your product. So you have to price it accordingly from the outset. After you have spoken with one distributor, finding others should be easier. There may be dozens of wholesalers or distributors that distribute products similar to yours. Once you have spoken with a few, you'll have a much clearer idea about which one may be the best for you, as well how to price your product properly and get it to market and begin generating some sales.
So this is more or less for people who are entrepreneurs, but they're inventors. So you don't have anything to sell your product, so you need to get into somebody's hands so they can get it to your customer base. Now, if you have a business that is a service provider, it's a little different. People have to come to you for your service. Or say in a restaurateur, then they have to come to you for the food, unless you're making mass-produced food. But that's something to also take into account too. So that's where knowing your market is extremely important, and more important when you're not an inventor, but you're actually selling a service or something tangible like food.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You have to be strenuous. It's about cleanliness, and there are so many standards that you have to know that not only your state is going to demand of you, but the city itself is also going to demand these standards of you. You have to be prepared to meet them, whether it be financially or with manpower to do whatever it is that they ask of you.
Franchise, you get caught with those kind of things also.
Oh yeah, they'll set you, and they're monitoring at all time. You're representing a brand, so we'll also talk about franchising. That'll probably be an episode of its own. We're not particularly franchising ourselves, but we'll probably do a bonus episode because I have done quite a bit of research and when it comes to franchising, and it's an interesting topic that we can also go over. So the next step is for you to keep in mind is product innovation. This will be the last thing we talk about in this particular book before we make it more personal, start applying this to our plans. But here's what they say about product innovation. Product innovation is one of the most sought after and talked about attributes in business. But all too often, innovation is more theory than practice because initiating and implementing an innovative product is rarely easy. Now, here's what they suggest that you need to do to create a great product. 1, think of things that never existed and ask why not. Tap into the power of one is number 2. The second lesson in product innovation is that one person can make a difference. Look at almost any product that you will never find that there was some man or woman behind it who was steadfastly committed to its success. Keep it simple, stupid. That one should be self-explanatory, or KISS. If you're going to offer something new and improved, make sure that it's simple and does 1 or 2 things very well. First is best. Getting your product to the market first can often mean the difference between having a winner and a loser. Post-it notes were first, Tupperware was first, Pampers were first, Barbie was first.
We still call those things everything that looks like that thing.
Yes.
Even though they're not.
It's fan of marketing that we now, I guess, I think trend setting was something that was always around. But now with so much influence, whether you be a YouTube or social media influencer, anything, being first, being one of the first to now in this sort of environment where people can talk about it, makes your business grow, I think, much faster than we did back in the day. Like, I don't think companies have blown up to the extent that a lot of companies have now, due to the fact that we have so many types of influence and so much information reaching so many people so quickly. Try again. The path of the innovator may not follow a straight line. Getting a product right often takes trial and error, followed by a few mistakes, a couple of bonehead moves, and only then maybe a home run. Number 6, it's risky business. Creating a great product and getting it out there often takes everything an entrepreneur has to offer. The financial risk involved, not to mention the emotional toll, are considerable indeed. Great new products require risk. It's as simple as that. And then it talks about synergy, which is a concept in which the whole is thought to be greater than the sum of its parts. So, yeah, with those tenements in mind, that's what they recommend to having a great product business. Now, go ahead.
I agree with every last one of those because that's literally what I do professionally. Mm-hmm. And it's not easy. If it was easy, somebody else would already do it. But you can't be defeated by that. And I think a lot of times, the first question that you ask is, how can this be easier for the person either making it or for the person using it?
Yes.
How can this be easier? And with that thought in mind, I think that's how you approach it always.
So, we talked about how to come up with an idea. We talked about the feeling that you should get whenever you find the idea that you want to nurture and grow into an actual business. And now we talked about the actual product or service that it can become and how to figure out whether or not it works through research and development. So our company, we are, we're the business. And right now we are trying to start off our business with our flagship company, which is called Statgates Interactive. That is our video game company and app company, in which our mission statement pretty much is we want to connect with people. We want to be able to come up with products that have a positive connection, whether it be through story or some sort of app that essentially makes a person better, self-development. That is what we're going for. So on top of
immersed in whatever that you're doing.
Correct. Pure immersion. So we want to basically make a company that basically make products, especially when it comes to this particular genre, that goes a bit deeper, makes a person feel something and connect and take something, walk away with an exceptional feeling. We're fans as well of certain things, so we know what it's like to get caught up in the excitement of shows like Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, and just
The Watchmen, man, that was
The Watchmen was exceptional, and just tell stories that are meaningful and just have a impact and that affects people. We are fans who appreciate fans and want to make fans. So that's the quality of product that we're designing currently. But we're going to use 3 examples because beyond our video game company, we started as a comic book company that is known as the Drawing Board. Board, like being bored, not actual wooden board. It's the drawing board. We started off with a series of comic books, and it's that experience that led us to guide us to the business principles that we are holding with this particular company. And we wanted to go down the process of what happened to us when we had the idea, what we went through to find out whether or not it was a proper product, and pretty much some light going into of development. So at first, the story of our first comic book endeavor came from Ian. He had when I was younger, I was very heavily into writing, and I decided to start a writing club amongst me and the rest of my friends who were also intellectuals and writers and stuff like that, except for one person, which was Ian, who was not a writer at all. But he was.
I write for a living,
but
I am not a writer.
Yes. And out of all the people who wrote stuff, Ian surprisingly came in with a submission in the form of a children's book that told a tale that was as batshit crazy and confusing as a. It was just.
It's a weird stream of consciousness.
Yeah.
And it was a point, FY.
It was interesting to say the least. It was the epitome of what we were talking about. It was just concept after concept after concept after concept that were disembodied, that didn't really formulate a real idea. So it was all of these ingredients, but no liquid to congeal or for it to be a part of.
Binder.
Yeah. So upon reading it and being quite angry, because it's like, why are you taking this seriously? What is this madness? After a while, later, I don't know how much longer, for some reason we decided to take his concept and make it into a D&D game, which for some reason fleshed out a lot of elements that started making the madness make sense. So
FYI,
go ahead.
I'm a D&D nerd. I have been, like, literally my whole life since AD&D, if you want to Google that for those who don't know how old that is. But
since you had Dungeons,
I find that a good thing, and even with this resurgence of Dungeons and Dragons now on like YouTube and live play stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's a good way to let creativity flow, because you're taking in a different perspective and you're embodying a character in a setting, and it's communal. So whereas a lot of times we're creative in a bubble, when you're forced to be creative communally, it brings out things that you can't possibly bring out yourself.
It forces all participants to, you're forced